3D is a tool. And I don't mean that in a rude way. Basically, it's a cart. You don't want to put it ahead of the donkey. So if you're ready for it, you compose for it. You allow for it. There's certain people that kind of shoot, like Tim Burton probably does, like tableau stuff. 3D lends itself to that. If you're going to shoot a cinema verite shaky cam thing, you can put all the 3D you want in there. It's still going to look like your clashy film. But for me, my style tends to lend itself to that. And the two things that helped me was we had the amount of time to finish it how it needed to be finished, and we were ready to compose for it. It wasn't something that was thought of in post. So there, I just say, if you're ready for it, you're ready for it. If you're not, and it's pushed on you like the poor director of Clash, you end up with what you do.
All right, next question.
Okay.
Hi there, my question's for Tarsem. The film has a very strong visual style. Was it more physical sets, or was it like green screen like 300?
It's a lot more physical sets than 300 was, because I kind of thought when we were starting with the guys, I needed them to interact with the things a lot more. They had the advantage, and it's a wonderful film for 300, to actually have a comic strip to fall back to. I didn't. So when you have people wearing stuff that can obviously be construed so wrong and look ridiculous and everything, you put them in front of a green screen, they might lose their bottle. So I needed the sets to be existing, and then they had to work with it. So no, I'd say we had a lot more bigger sets than 300 did.
That's a good question. Hey.
This is for, whoa. This is for Tarsem and the cast. I just want to ask you how you translate your vision to the cast, and if the cast thought that from the trailer, if it looked the way you thought it would.
It's a kind of, I think, I don't know, to tell you the truth. I have certain images in my head, and we sit down. It's kind of what I get spat on by critics for the same reason. Most people like a good script, and unfortunately, I usually don't start with that. I start with a good visual, and then I just say, if you're writing like Shaw, I think his statement was, you make your characters. The characters will give you a plot. If you don't have a plot, there's something wrong with your characters. I start with a good visual story and try to see if a story will fall in. Fortunately for me, it works in the medium I'm working in. So I then sit down with actors and say, this is kind of what I have in mind. And you need complete trust for something like that. And each situation calls in itself a different interpretation. So it's not very different, except for the fighting. The fighting is usually, in most of the times, it's turned over to a CGI group that tells you, these guys, this is how they fight. And you leave it from there. And for me, the fighting that I did was, we shot that 3 times. I shot it with real people to see if this was a real physical set, how would it interact. Then we took the guys out and then made them in the computer with the real guys. So that's why it looks as real as it does. So there's each thing has its own approach. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello. This is for Henry. Oh, yeah, give a hand. So I just want to know, I'm a huge fan of mythology, and I just want to know if you are a fan of mythology. And also, it's customary that after you answer someone a question, you're supposed to hug them. So.
Is that it?
Yeah, I have been a fan of mythology. Certainly read a good bit when I was a boy. But as Tarsem was saying earlier, I want to try and keep away from too much of a mythology base for my character on this. And just, stuck to Tarsem's vision and listened to what he wanted me to do.
Hello, guys.
This question is for Henry Cavill. Is there anything about Frida Pinto that you can tell us that no one else knows?
That's a little disturbing.
No, there's not.
Thank you.
Good question, though.
Okay, back to Earth. Hello.
My question is for the whole cast. What was the hardest part while you were filming this movie?
The most difficult thing, and I probably speak for all of us, maybe not Kellen, but was staying in shape. It was really, really tough. Kellen obviously is always in shape, but for the rest of us, it was a good bit of hard work, and the training beforehand and then maintaining that leanness throughout, I think, was probably the most difficult thing, because Tarsem otherwise made everything very easy for us.
I bet you Frida has a different answer to that one.
Well,